Hey guys, how you doing? Today is October 13th, and there is a lot of sad things happening right now in Israel, right, this week, and now is ongoing and is become worse, right. I'm sorry that there is an alarm ringing at the back, right, but this microphone is directional. That means for all the sound that not in front of this microphone, then the volume will be very small, right? I hope it helps, right? So today we will introduce, actually it's not introduce, right? Because in my Hong Kong program, I already introduced the PEPSI. And PEPSI just launched its quarter result, right? It's very good, right? But we see that then the stock price still drops. Now, all the dividend stock, their stock price dropped, including McDonald's, all the weeks. Why? Because the treasury yield is now more than 5%, right, for 2 years. 4.95, right, something like that, right. So the investor is willing to sell the stock and then to buy the treasury bond. Then because there is no weeks, right, you no need to think and you believe in US government, right. So no matter how good the stock perform, the dividend stocks, maybe McDonald's, Waste Management, now the Pepsi, Coke, right, all the big guys, right, nowadays their stock price are dropping, but that give us a chance to buy in, right. I'm not saying that to buy the dip because we don't know where's the dip, right, but they are good stock, right, and I do not believe that US government will continue put up the interest rate for 2 or 3 years more, because that's not possible, right. It's not possible for the US government to pay such a huge dividend, right. It's interest, then that's not possible. So I think that after they achieve their growth, then they may gradually reduce the interest rate, right. So like the stock I just listed, like McDonald's, Waste Management, Pepsi, and a lot of weeks, then you should pick up some good one. Then keep a close eye on them, and whenever they achieve a low enough price, then you should stock a little bit, right. So today, then we will analyze one of them, Pepsi, right. Then no need for me to introduce Pepsi, right. Pepsi is a group not only for the beverage, not only for the soft drink. Then they have grocery, they have quick, right. They have a lot of brands. Then I'm not going to reintroduce them once again here in this program, right, because it's very long. Normally our program is just 15 minutes, something like that, right. Short is for you to quite conveniently to finish the video, right. 15 minutes, then you hear that, and then if you have further interest, then you go to look up the information, right. So the performance is good, but the stock price still drops, right. It happens not only to Pepsi, right. All the dividend stock have the same issue, right? Okay, our Falcon portfolio been, right, quite luckily, then we increased it, right, 77% to 77%, right. And then actually in the past few days the stock market rise up, but in the past few weeks, right, the stock market dropped it big enough, right. So lucky for us, right. Okay, then for if any of you then want me to analyze any of the stock, then you can leave your message under the YouTube, or you can directly email to me by Usstockmarketweekly@gmail.com. So let you take a look on that, right. The US 10-year treasury is 4.65, right. For the 2 years is 4.95. That means very close to 5 already, right. So the investor will not pick up the stock, and then they will pick up the US 2 years treasury yield, because you no need to do anything, and then you can get 5% per year, and then you just hold this for 2 years, then you will get back all 100% of your capital. So why not do that, right? And this is our cover, Pepsi. This quarter result is good, but the stock price still drops. Yesterday, the Dow Jones drop is not because of the Israel war issue, right? It's because of the PPI. The PPI is a little bit, just 0.1% higher than expected, right? Higher than the forecast. So yesterday, the Dow Jones dropped it by 173 points. And Nasdaq dropped it by 85 points. I think this is normal because in the past 3 or 4 days, then they increased it for a few days already. And this is our Falcon 350,000 portfolio. Then you can see that then our portfolio performance for all few years is 77%. And only by this year, 2023, our portfolio been raised at 33% compared with 1 year before. So this is quite intense, right? Because the Israel just said that all the Palestinians in Gaza, please immediately evacuate to the south. There has 1.1 million of that people, and that means Israel will go into the Gaza maybe to catch them or maybe to kill them for all those in Hamas. For all those Hamas, right? And then all the people innocent, then peace live, something like that. So it's very, very intense already, right? And they will kill whatever in front of them. So I hope the innocent people can evacuate on time, because now their condition is very, very bad, right? We know that in the Gaza corridor, then there's no electricity, no water, no medicine, no supply, right? Then they have to go. But because that exit to Egypt is destroyed, then they can only go to the south, right? But where can they go, right? Because they go to the south. Then if you look at the video, there is like a desert, nowhere to go, like a desert, right? Or some holes underground, right? Then how can they live, right? Something like that. So it's very, very intense, right? Okay, then today China's export and imports drop again in last month. That means September, right? You can see that we calculate them. We only take our concern in US dollar export or import. For all those others not in US dollars, then we omit them, right? Not our interest. You see that the export fell again by 6.2% compared to 1 year before. It's better because the forecast is 7.6%. But what is the difference, right? And the imports also fell by the same 6.2%, right? That means the import or export also fell. That means the business of China doing with US or doing with Europe or European countries dropping. It dropped it for 9 months already. And then China's consumer price index also drops, right? The producer price index also drops, right? And they think that it drops for 2.4%, and then now it drops 2.5%. Then in August it drops 3%. What's the difference, right? That means the producer price index is dropping, right? And that means the demand is very weak. Okay, we go into the Pepsi. And everyone knows that Pepsi is a group, not only a soft drink. And this is one of the biggest competitor to Coke, right? To Coke. Then I drink Pepsi. I also drink Coke. I feel quite different to distinguish them. Right? The taste, they give me the feeling is quite close to each other. Then you can see that for Pepsi, right? In 2023, the stock price dropped a lot. I've calculated from the highest, it dropped to about 23%, right? You can see that the red circle. And now Pepsi have a dividend of 3.2%, quite high, right? Quite high. And then you can see that in the past 5 years, although she dropped a lot, you can see that Pepsi can give you a return of 43.33%. If we calculate it on together with the dividend, what Pepsi can give you the return for 5 years about 70% or 68 something, right? So that is already very good already, right? So why Pepsi stock price dropped before? You can see that, right? During the COVID-19, no matter they're still in Europe, they're still in Asia, then not all the restaurant open, right? Not all the people restore to office, right? Not all the restaurant open, not all the others like the shopping mall are open. So the selling volume of Pepsi or the grocery or the beverage are not as now, because now is already normal, right? You can see that in 2022 September, the revenue been dropped until middle of this month of this year. That means until June, right? Then we can see that also for the earnings per share, then it dropped it from March to June, right? That means that quarter. And for Pepsi, for the whole group, right? For the whole group, the main revenue comes from US, North America, right? The main is come from US 61%. Then is the Latin America, that means the Mexico. And then is the Europe, second is the Europe, and then is the Mexico. And then is Africa, and then is Asia, something like that, right? That means the yellow one is the Asia, and China. So in China, not a lot of people take the Pepsi or the Coke. A lot of people take many other drinks, right? And we can see that, right? In first and second quarter of this year, you can see that for the red color, that means for the beverage, you can see that the increment is quite marginal, right? That means in quarter one a little bit increase, and in the second quarter, it dropped at 1%. But for all the 2022 Q3 to 2023 Q2 4 quarters, all the convenience foods, the growth is negative, right? Negative, and negative more, and negative more. But for this quarter, that means the third quarter, it just announced a few days before. You can see that if we take the core constant currency change, you can see that all is become positive, right? North America, okay, 14%. Quick, right? We all take quick already, right? Then 9%, and the Pepsi in North America, 14%. Latin America, 9%. Europe, wow, Europe, 46% increment, right? So it's very good, very good. Then in average, it's 16% for the Pepsi group. And then if we count in organic change, that means adjusted. Take out all the other things not related to the core business, right? It means organic, right? For the organic, not bad, right? Frito-Lay North America 7%, Quick 5%, Pepsi 6%, Latin America 9%, Europe also have 13%, already good enough, right? And then Africa 17%, and then Africa, Pacific, and Australia, China 9%. Make up a total of 9% organic change than 1 year before. Is very good, right? And then we take a look on this quarter. This quarter is to September 9th, right? Then the net revenue is $23.4 billion US dollar, about 10% better than 1 year before, right? And then for the net income is 3 billion US dollar. That makes up the net profit margin is about 13%, 13%, right? compared with 1 year before is 2.7 billion US dollar. That means increased at about 10%, right? Already good enough to me. And then for the net cash provided by operating activity, 7.6 billion US dollar compared with 1 year before 6.3, right? 20% better. Then we come to the most important part, is the profit and loss account, right? Then we can see that for the current asset is 28.6 billion US dollar, and then for the current liability is 32.6, right? Just a little bit more of the current liability. We mark it down first, right? Okay, then we count for the most important part, is the long-term liability. The long-term liability add up together, excluding for the lease, that means the rent, right? It's about 40.8 billion US dollar. So I have calculated for the interest, but the capital yearly that need to pay back is 5.4 billion US dollar, right? And the net income per year for PEPSI is 12 billion US dollar. So that's okay for PEPSI for the long-term debt, right? Just a little bit more in the current liability. That means in the finance, then she is okay, right? So I think PEPSI passed the hard time already, right? Passed the hard time already. Then it rolls back, and rolls back. And to me, 3.2% dividend is very attractive, right, in US stock. And also that now the price is just 20 something for the PE. It's not expensive, right? So if it drop a little bit more, like Beauty Income, like McDonald's or Pepsi, then probably I will buy some, right? Probably I'll buy some for getting the dividend, right? 3.2 is right, attractive to me, right? Something like that, right? Then if you have Pepsi, if you have McDonald's, then if you have Beauty Income, then already then you have a good portfolio for the US stock, right? So I will drop it down, then maybe I will explain them a little more about the dividend for all the people that they want to rely on US stock, right? Okay, thanks for guys for joining us. Then for every Friday, then I appreciate that, right? So today is already Friday, and then thanks for watching the program, and please give us the like, comment, and share, and then subscribe, and then press the bell icon next to it, right? So whenever there is new video uploaded, then you will get the notice from YouTube. So already weekend, so I hope everyone have a peaceful weekend, and I hope there is peace in Israel soon, right? Let us pray for them. Bye bye.